Happy Monday, mommies. Today we are joined with Crysta Marshall. Hello, Crysta.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Hanging.
Crysta is the wife of Aaron Marshall, and she is the mother of Gia, Judah, and baby number 3. So, Crysta, let's just jump right into it. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your journey to motherhood.
Okay, well, I have a 10-year-old, Gia. That's our daughter. She's 10. And then now I have a 9-month-old with my husband, Aaron. And I am pregnant with baby number 3. We're trying to figure out names and all that stuff. But I am right at 15 weeks pregnant. So yeah, we're in the second trimester going, and yeah, I've been a mom for over 10 years now. It's weird. Like I still don't feel like a mom, but whatever.
You look good. So I know that you said that you had Gia, and then you met Aaron, and then you got married. So what was that transition like? How was it for you? Like, what did it take for you to trust Aaron with Gia? Because I know mothers who are like, this is my child. You can't discipline my child. But, you come together in a union. What did it take for you? And like, how was that process for you?
All right, I feel like that's the question that can literally take about a day and a half to answer. But short version, I can say, like initially, before I had even met Aaron, like I wasn't dating. Like after I had my daughter, it was just her and I. So I never dated or anything like that in the process. So she was never really around any other men except like my dad or my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I remember even talking to my friends, like when she was 4, 5, 6. I'm like, yeah, nobody's gonna spank her. Nobody's gonna like. This is my kid. Like what you were saying was exactly how I felt. Like nobody's gonna be able to come in here and like deal with that. Like we can deal with the other kids, but Gia is Gia. Like that's what that is. And like I had no question about that. And so then Gia was, I believe, 7 or 8 when I met Aaron. And so Aaron and I just built friendship. Like we weren't really looking to like date one another. So we were just like building friendship. And so he was around Gia. Like what friend wouldn't be around our kid, or my kid at the time. And so he would be around and like they would just like kind of hang. And so they kind of built their own little relationship. I built my relationship with him too, but it wasn't just Aaron. It was always like another, like other people. So it wasn't weird or awkward. And so I remember, I'll never forget, one day we were having a barbecue at my house. And I was like, dang, I need to go to Kroger. And Gia was there, a couple other kids were there, it's like other people. And Aaron was sitting on the couch, and I was like, hey, do you mind watching Gia really quick? I'm gonna go to Kroger, get some barbecue sauce, I'll be right back. And I remember like driving to Kroger, and Kroger is literally a half a mile away from my house. And I was like, oh my God, I just left my kid with somebody, like a man. Like, what am I thinking? But it was just so organic, and it wasn't something that was forced or anything. I just remember sitting there and I was like, oh, let me hurry up. After I thought about what I had done. But I went and came back, and Gia, everything was fine. Like it wasn't anything strange. And like I'll probably go into it a little bit more, but previously, unfortunately, my daughter was sexually abused by her father. And so I was a little concerned, not a little, I was a lot concerned about leaving her with anybody. And I hadn't done it except like a sitter of a family friend or something. So for me to just let her be okay with Aaron, I knew that there was something there, that I knew that I could trust him with her. And like she would be like, hey, where's Aaron at? Where's this person at? And just like she just saw him as family. So I thought that was kind of cool. And that's how that transition happened. And then I'm like, okay, well, so and then I went and prayed. I'm like, God, what is this? Why did I do that? I need to know. Right. Show me. Yeah.
Now, I do want to transition into Gia. You said that she was abused by her previous father. And I know that you have a nonprofit organization called Defined with Purpose. So tell me about, what you went through as a mother with that, and, how like you recovered from that, and how you were able to, help Gia recover, and then also what led to the wonderful organization of Defined with Purpose.
Yeah. So when Gia was 3, I found out, unfortunately, that she was being sexually abused by family members. We still didn't know conclusively who or what. I was at that time, obviously, I was a single mom. Like her father and I, when she was born, we had separated.
Mhm.
So we were never married. That was my boyfriend. So it was like he was never really around. He would come visit and different things like that. His family would come as well. But we never really had that fullness of a relationship. So there was a lot that I didn't know, and I wish, like thinking back, like my young Crysta, like I was just kind of like, oh, okay, all is well, but now like they wouldn't, like I'm asking all the questions, I'm checking everything out. But with that, I found out that she was being abused because she had come home one day from visiting in Miami, and she talked about some things that had happened, and I was just like, what? And it shocked me because I wasn't prepared to hear, what she was saying. So then I ended up taking her to the doctor to get checked out. Unfortunately, they found evidence that she was being abused.
Mhm.
And so she was 3 and I was 27, 28. I can't remember exactly how old, but I remember just kind of like, what is going on? I just didn't have any place to land. Like my parents, like we're so close and everything, but like they didn't have the answers. Like when your parents don't have the answers and you're close to your parents, you're like, I don't know what to do. And so I remember like we had to do the police report and all of that. And unfortunately, because the case was closed in 7 days. And so I didn't know what that meant. I'm just like, oh, well, then maybe they didn't have enough evidence, whatever it was. But unfortunately, cases of sexual abuse, they can close quickly because, there's so many different things, especially with age. And so I didn't have any help. And I'm trying to keep my daughter safe. They're trying to see her. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. um, I'm having mental breakdowns. I'm trying not to cry in front of my kid because she's telling me stories that would make any mom like, like go crazy. And so there was just no support. Like my parents did what they could, like my friends did what they could, but real true support of somebody walking me through that journey, it was not there. And so we had to go to court constantly because I had to make sure that she stayed safe. That was an expensive process. Like it was over in the course of a year and something. It was over $250,000 for court fees and a therapy for her. So I put her in therapy. I got an attorney. We had to go back and forth to Miami constantly because the hearing was there because she was born in Miami.
Mhm.
And just to make sure that everything was like going and it was cohesive. Like it was long, it was arduous, it was years. Like that wasn't a quick process because there was psychosexual evaluations, psychological evaluations, all of these things that had to go to make sure that she was okay. It came to the end to where they weren't able to say conclusively that it was one specific person, but it was enough evidence to say that she couldn't have visitation without a supervisor. So
Mhm.
now she does visitations with a supervisor monthly or every other month with her father. And so that was kind of the process of it. And going through that, like I felt like I lost just because like I'm like, she still has to see these people.
Mhm.
And I was so angry because I didn't feel like she deserved to have to like be around that anymore. But now kind of like going through everything, I understand that sometimes things are bigger than us, that what we never can understand. It's just bigger and it's broader and there's a bigger purpose. Like, yes, sexual abuse is horrible. And like I fight now for kids left and right. But sometimes God has a bigger purpose for the reason why you have to see them for a little bit. Like, what if they're the only light that they ever have in their life? Like there's so many different things. And so that was just the perspective that I chose to take. And that's the perspective that I teach my daughter, so she doesn't feel like she lost or that she did anything wrong or she didn't say anything. So with that being said, like that process of everything, I believe it was a few years, no, it was like a year afterwards. I remember I was like laying on my bed and I remember God telling me no more secrets. And I was like, what is that? So I already had Defined with Purpose going. And initially we just worked with girls to have them really have an understanding of like their value and their worth. And No More Secrets ended up being the branch of Defined with Purpose that worked with kids that have been sexually abused and gone through specific traumas. And so what we do now at the organization is that we still help young adults and kids with their value, because that's definitely lost in the process of sexual abuse. But we also fight for the kids. So we have legal teams that go to war for our kids when they've been sexually abused and the parents are still trying to get them to go back to the home. We have therapists that work with us. And then we also mentor in office to help them through that process. So what I didn't have, we invented. And so we have it set up to where now we can help families and parents and the children and even people that had been sexually abused maybe when they were younger. And then we have like some 20-year-olds that come, or 30-year-olds, and they're like, hey, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z because of the sexual abuse. Like, can you help me? Absolutely. So we help and we go through that process. And so again, like I hate that my experience of that. I hate that my daughter experienced the things that she did, but she always tells me that she's grateful because we're able to help so many people. Like my daughter now even helps some of the younger people, and she mentors some of the younger kids that come. And it's not one-on-one, it's more so that she's there and she's just kind of like, encouraging and like being there for some of them. So that's Defined with Purpose, and that's the way that we got into that process. So yeah. Oh, and then we cover the cost of therapy and legal fees too, because of that price that I had to pay. Like, I don't want anybody else, especially a single mom. Like, I didn't have it. The only way those finances came was because my parents helped me. And and most people's parents just don't have a lot of money just sitting, just hanging. So that's why we do what we do to help the families. So that's it.
For sharing. Moms, just know that you are not alone if you are going through this. I will provide this information to her organization. There is help. You can always have help. Don't feel don't feel guilty that you didn't see the signs before. Just know that now that you saw the signs, be that advocate for your child. And so thank you, Crysta, for being that advocate for your child and, seeing the bigger, broader picture and helping so many families in that journey. And so now seeing that, that makes it even more going back to thinking about, leaving Gia with Aaron when you're going to Kroger, you're like, what? Right. But going back to looking at the bigger picture, now look at your beautiful family that you have now. And you have another baby on the way. So for those of you who are probably looking at this in the future, right now in 2020, we are going through a pandemic called COVID-19. And so my sister-in-law is pregnant. And so she tells me about her visitations to the hospital. But tell me, like, how is it being pregnant during a pandemic? How is it different from, just regular old days?
Yeah. So one thing that I have realized is that, most people see it too. Like Aaron, my husband, he can't come to the doctor's appointments with me. So I like have my phone and I'm like, FaceTiming him, like ultrasound pictures and different things. Like he didn't miss a doctor's appointment with our son. And so now I'm going by myself. So that's the only negative side for me personally. But I gotta be honest, and I know that the pandemic has been really tough for so many families and so many people. For me, I've been able to rest. And that's something that I didn't do in my previous pregnancies. Like I'm able to sleep. I'm like, this is okay. I feel more like energetic because usually I'm still like running business. I'm still doing this. I'm still doing this and still being pregnant, throwing up, coming back, that kind of stuff because of morning sickness. But like now I can rest. And I've really have taken an opportunity to rest in this process. So it hasn't been as bad as, it could have been, thank God, So like I have enjoyed the time to just like watch my belly grow and like hang out with my son and hang out with Gia, and my husband. So I've kind of enjoyed it. I feel guilty for saying it, but I can't say I'm upset about it at all. So
Hey, I think it is a perfect reminder for us as mothers to, and when we're pregnant and when we're not pregnant, when we've had our children, to take time to rest. We're being super moms and we're out there and we're running around and doing everything and we're providing for our family. But, self-care is important.
yes,
We have
absolutely.
to rest. So,
Yeah, yeah. And I've also learned to like love myself more in the sense of like, I don't need makeup. Like I'm happy without it. I'm happy without having a specific kind of outfit on. Like I'm loving me. And I think that that's been something that I've enjoyed too. So yeah.
yes, the life of leggings.
Yes. Right.
With all of that and you being a mother,
Yeah.
you being a woman, and you being a wife, tell me what it means to you to be active and what it means to you to be free, especially considering everything that you went through.
Yeah. So I think the first part for me stands out of active and free, the active part, I would say, because I've always an active person. Like I was an athlete in college. Like I've always just been active and now taking it into like motherhood and taking it into marriage. Like it's fun to be able to like race my kid down the street and be like, I beat you, you're slow. So those kinds of things. Like I'll tell you, I was like, you got beat running by a pregnant woman. You need to get faster. you know. Right. So like just like just teaching my kids to have like a fun, like loving, like friendly competition, and but also to like just really like cultivating their gifts. Like one of my gifts was athletics, like, and but my daughter, she loves science, so cultivating that and doing outside experiments with her. Like we did she's in Kansas now visiting my parents for the summer for a bit, but before she left, we got like a big thing of Coke and put Mentos in it to see what happened, all of that kind of stuff. So I think the active part is just living life and like cultivating their gifts, like our kids' gifts and the things that they like to do. And then teaching them something about us too. So that's the active part. And then the free part is just the ability to be able to do it all. Like there's no cap on what we can do as mothers and what we can do as women. Like we can like build an empire if we want, like we can birth a kid, like our husbands can't do that. So like we can run this world. And I think that a lot of times that we don't, we settle because we have so much on our shoulders, or we're allowing hurt to run ahead of us, or we're allowing the way a person sees us to value who we really are. And so it just like stops us from going forward. So I think that like taking caps off of things, taking like that glass ceiling that we even place on ourselves sometimes, and just like going forward to do the things that we want to do, I think is amazing. Like I think that you're like a perfect example of that. Like I was saying like before, like look at you in your YouTube channels and pursuing this and doing this. Like there's nothing in your mind that you can't do, and you go after it. And I think that's awesome. So that's the free part that, I want to instill in every person that I meet, women or men, so.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
Oh.
My parents always said, whatever you want, go for it. And I always tell anyone who's around me, anything that I want, I tell them I'm going to get it and I'm going to
Yeah.
work for it. And if I tell them, they're like, it's going to happen. She's
Yeah.
So
Right.
thank you so much for saying that.
No, it's evident. So
Thank you. Um, so I was gonna ask, what advice do you have for single mothers and mothers of blended families? But I think you gave some great advice throughout the entire interview. But is
yeah.
there anything else that you would like to say?
I think for single moms, don't settle. Do not settle just because you're lonely, or don't settle just because you want your kid to have a dad. Like I remember Gia, like she was 2 and 3. She's like, God, I pray that I have a good daddy. Like she would pray that, and I would hear the prayers when we're doing prayer at night, and I'm just like, oh gosh, I got to figure this out. But it wasn't for me to figure out. Literally, I got married when she was 8, and I couldn't have had a better person, for her, but if I would have settled for any other counterfeits that had come before, that would not have been the best thing for her. So do not settle because of whatever feeling that you're having, because our feelings can sometimes lead us down the wrong path. So make sure you don't settle. That's the thing I want to say. And then for a blended family, have grace and patience. Patience. Like my husband, patience. I need to have patience with him. He needs to have patience with me, because yes, um, it wasn't such an easy transition for him to just come and be like, his voice is just like, so like the first time he told Gia to do something, she cried because she wasn't used to that kind of voice. And I'm like, why are you making my baby cry? So, but understand like that there's a learning process to all of this stuff. So those are the 2 things that I have to say.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Crysta, for coming and letting us into your life a little bit. Everyone, if you would like to give and help out with Crysta's nonprofit, Defined with Purpose, the information is down below so that you can give, and so that you can also see what her organization is about, a little bit more about it. She does host annual fashion shows. I love them. I haven't been able to go to one, but I will go to one soon. And then you can also on Instagram at Crysta Redwine Marshall. Information is below. Yeah. And like I always say, we might have different journeys, but we can all learn something from someone. Thank you all, and thank you, Crysta.
No problem. Thank you. See you guys later.
Bye. Hello, mommies. I hope you enjoyed today's interview. Make sure you share and subscribe and click that bell at the top. We'll see you next Monday. Say bye, Micah.